With every new expansion of the Yellowstone universe, especially through prequels like 1883 and 1923, fans have been trying to piece together the Dutton family tree, and honestly, it's starting to feel more like a puzzle than a timeline. Now with the Madison being promoted as another Yellowstone spin-off, confusion has only grown stronger, because it doesn't immediately feel connected to the main Dutton storyline. And at the center of all this confusion is one major question that nobody can seem to answer clearly: what exactly happened to the fourth generation of the Dutton family? To understand that, we have to go all the way back to the beginning, where everything started with James Dutton and Margaret Dutton. Their journey in 1883 wasn't just about finding land, it was about building a legacy from nothing. Alongside them, characters like Jacob Dutton and Cara Dutton became the pillars that held the family together when tragedy struck. And tragedy came hard and fast in this generation, especially with the loss of Elsa Dutton, whose death didn't just break the family emotionally, but also shaped the very land they would protect for generations. Add to that the heartbreaking fate of Claire Dutton, and it becomes clear that survival was never easy for the Duttons. As we move into the second generation, things don't get any easier. John Dutton Sr. grows up to carry forward the Dutton name, but his story ends violently, leaving behind Emma Dutton, whose grief leads to another devastating loss for the family. At the same time, the story of Spencer Dutton and Alexandra Dutton becomes one of the most emotional arcs in the entire franchise. Their love story feels like hope in a world filled with chaos, but even that ends in tragedy when Alex dies shortly after giving birth to their son, John Dutton II. That moment should have been the beginning of a new chapter, but instead, it opens the door to even more questions. When we reach the third generation, the timeline starts to feel uncertain. On one side, we have Jack Dutton and Elizabeth Dutton, whose story is left incomplete when Jack dies and Elizabeth leaves Montana while still pregnant. That unborn child becomes one of the biggest mysteries in the Dutton lineage, because we never find out what happens next. On the other side, Spencer's son John II represents another path forward, but even that isn't straightforward since it's later suggested that Spencer may have had another child with a different woman. Suddenly, instead of one clear bloodline, we have multiple possibilities, and none of them fully connect the dots. And this is where the real mystery begins. John Dutton III, portrayed by Kevin Costner, is widely considered a fifth-generation Dutton. But if John II belongs to the third generation, then logically, there must be a fourth generation in between. The problem is that generation hasn't been clearly identified in any of the shows so far. It's like there's a missing chapter in the story, and fans are left trying to fill in the blanks themselves. One possible explanation is that Spencer and Alex's son didn't survive long enough to continue the family line, which, given the time period and circumstances, is unfortunately very realistic. If that's the case, then the Dutton legacy may have continued through Spencer's second child, whose story hasn't been fully explored yet. Another strong theory is that Elizabeth's unborn baby is actually the key to everything. If she gave birth and that child grew up to carry the Dutton name, it would perfectly fill the gap between the third and fifth generations. Some even speculate that she might have named her child John, keeping the family tradition alive and connecting the lineage more clearly. There's also the possibility that the Madison will finally address this missing link. Even though it doesn't seem directly connected to the Dutton ranch at first glance, it could be hiding a deeper connection, possibly through descendants of Elizabeth or another overlooked branch of the family. If that turns out to be true, then what seems like a disconnected story right now could actually be the piece that completes the entire family tree. By the time we reach the modern timeline, the Dutton legacy is carried by John Dutton III and his children, Beth Dutton, Case Dutton, Jamie Dutton, and Lee Dutton, each of whom represents a different side of the family's identity. And beyond them, the next generation, especially Tate Dutton, carries the future of the ranch, whether he wants that responsibility or not. At the end of the day, the Dutton family tree isn't just complicated. It's intentionally layered with mystery, gaps, and emotional storytelling. And maybe that's the point. The missing fourth generation isn't just an oversight. It feels like a story waiting to be told. The real question is whether that story will finally be revealed in an upcoming prequel, or remain one of the biggest unanswered mysteries in the Yellowstone universe.